Well, Mark was team leader for the finance team in the office for many years. He was the second finance team leader. Jim Franson was the first. He was the second, and then he appointed me to be team leader. So I followed him and tried to follow in his footsteps. And the thing I remember most from working with Mark all these years is how calm he remained, really at all times in the face of stress that would just get increasingly more intense as a bill would be nearer and nearer to becoming law. You could always measure Mark's stress by the amount of pudding he would consume from the Senate cafeteria. If it got really bad, he'd start to get the milkshakes and the hamburgers from the Senate chef. And then if it got really bad, he would usually have a major life event change go on in the middle of everything. So I remember in 1995, we had the long government shutdown. We'd been working on major reconciliation bill that was vetoed. I believe we had 2 vetoes of the bill. And then in 1996, we were working on welfare reform, trying to do reconciliation, other tax legislation. And one day, Mark announced that he had sold his home in the district and moved to Virginia in the middle of all this. In the interim years, he would announce, usually in the middle of a major bill of legislation, that he had just bought a new car or had just committed to go on another cruise. I think they must have gone on maybe 20 cruises or more over the course of their Mark's career here. And then even most recently, after the Affordable Care Act, I know it was probably just after that ended that Mark sold his house in Virginia and moved again. So it was always very calm, very collected at work, and then in the meantime, these major life events would be happening in the background. I also remember this was early in 1997, I think, in the Balanced Budget Act. We had staff, we had CRS, we had committee staff, we had many legislative drafters from the House and Senate all in our offices. And at one point we couldn't find one of the major staff negotiators for one of the groups that was trying to close out the deal that night. And Mark looked around. We were all looking for this person. And about midnight, Mark came in and announced that he had located the person. The staffer had called in and said that they had been so stressed out by the work environment that they were circling the Beltway, driving to clear their head. They found that more relaxing than being in our office trying to finish that legislation. That was also the legislation where, just as we were about to put the conference report together, someone was working on a statement of managers and crashed our entire system, where we couldn't print the bill. We were under a deadline to get it out. And Mark, ever the calm, collected workhorse, figured out the one computer we had available that we had unattached to our system just as a safety measure, and somehow managed to get that going and print the whole conference report and the statement of managers in time to get it filed for the reconciliation deadline.